Talkingbrawls MMA.com here with Urijah Faber in Stockholm. Urijah, big fight announced for you. Obviously, a rematch against Rafael Assuncao. Thoughts on the fight first off?
He's tough. He's a tough fighter. I know he's been on a huge win streak, and I'm a fan of the guy. I like his fighting style. I like him as an individual, and I'm gonna like to beat him up again because that's what I got to do.
Definitely. I'm looking at the division now, and we know you had that interview with Ariel Helwani, and you haven't ruled out the possibility of fighting your teammate TJ Dillashaw. He's obviously the bantamweight champion. Just explain to me the thinking, the thought process between yourself and TJ about potentially fighting.
It hasn't been a lot of thought process. I mean, we kicked around the idea of, jokingly, if we did a fight each other, just having the camp and, we train together all the time anyways, just train together a bunch and then have the fight. But I think it'd be too weird. And I mean, I think there's some big fights out there for me. I could go up to 45s. I cut heavy to go to 35s. I could, have some big fights at 35s if Cruz ever heals up. And
your good friend, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that guy, he's not exactly made for battle these days. He's got the right mentality, he's the wrong genetics, I think. And, I don't know. There's a lot of big fights out there for me, I think. And I don't think it necessarily has to be TJ.
Would you ever think about, or would it be possible for your body to get down to 125?
Absolutely not. I mean, when I got here to Sweden, I was 159, and I'm lean. I mean, I wasn't real lean at 159, but I'm just a lean guy in general. So, I could not make 125s. There's no way.
And we look at it, you're a guy who's, you've been in so many big fights in your career. You've had, a lot of title fights. You've always come up a little bit short, but, you're getting on now a little bit, and this, you're going to be obviously become frustrated, TJ being champion next year. Is there a point where you're just going to go, I'm going to have to do this for the benefit of my legacy and my career?
No, I've never really worried about my legacy or my career like that necessarily. I'm like a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. I know it doesn't seem that way because, people consider me like a business guy, etc. But I never planned any of that stuff. I've just been like not afraid to do anything, not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of anything, So, for me, I don't think like that. I mean, could the fight happen? I mean, you never rule anything out, but I just don't think it will. And for me, it's my legacy is going to be whatever it is. I'm not worried about ruining my legacy or anything like that. This sport has developed like underneath my feet. I've seen the whole thing from fighting in Indian casinos in Northern California to them not even having a 155-pound division in the UFC to where it is now, where there's a 115-pound women's division, and one of the biggest stars being a female fighter. It's like this sport is evolving and changing, and I think for me, I've been a big part of it, and there's still a lot of stuff to be done, and I just don't know what that is yet.
Obviously, you're going to be concentrating hugely on this fight. I think you get back into California on Monday. So you said to me yesterday, just as I was chatting to come down the stairs, and you said you're going to start camp literally straight away. After this fight, I know you're going to be thinking about this fight predominantly. Are you going to look at possibly, going up to 145, or is there any sort of decision made in your head, or is it sort of a little bit in limbo at the moment? Are you just taking this fight at the moment? Absolutely
not. I mean, there's one thing I have to focus on right now. It's a really tough guy in Rafael Assuncao. I would, with the right opportunities, I'd be open to doing all sorts of stuff. Going up to 145s, not necessarily the most, the most appealing thing until you start thinking about the weight cut, and then it's real appealing. But there's a lot of mystery, and the first thing I have to do is take care of business. I take every single fight like it's a championship fight. I need to go in there and handle Rafael Assuncao and make sure that I'm still in the conversation for all these big fights.
And you said at the end of the press conference today, the media scrum, I asked you, will Urijah Faber fight for a title in 2015? And you said maybe, and a little cheeky grin on your face. Is that the plan? And do you really feel as though by the end of this year you'll be in the octagon fighting for a UFC championship?
You know what? I'm always, in my mind, going to be fighting for a championship. I don't know how it's going to pan out. Maybe we'll be at 45s. I don't know. But, I'm a guy that just, when I think of myself as a fighter, it's in fights for the title.
And obviously we've a big star back at home in Dublin, Conor McGregor. He beat Dennis Seaver last weekend. He's a big fight announced. I think it's going to be 23rd of May in Las Vegas, Nevada, at UFC 187. How do you see that fight going against Jose Aldo for Conor McGregor?
I think it's going to be a competitive fight. I mean, Conor, this is going to be, in my opinion, the first time that Conor's fought somebody that really believes in himself. And that's the difference with the top-tier guys, the very top-tier guys. Guys like TJ and Jose Aldo, guys like myself and Frankie Edgar, guys that have been at the very top, is we just believe, And so Conor's going to get to fight somebody that actually believes in himself and, really thinks that he's the best guy in the world, because Jose Aldo believes that he is, and Conor McGregor thinks that he's the best guy in the world. And so I think who's the better fighter? I think Jose Aldo. Is Conor McGregor out of his league? In no way. He's in the fight. Could go his way, but I think Aldo gets it.
And saying that, obviously you're very close with Chad Mendes, being a teammate of yours. Chad and Jose engaged more than I've ever seen him in his UFC tenure with Chad on the feet. He got really involved in the fight. It was a bit of a slugfest. Do you think if he goes out and does that against Conor McGregor, that McGregor might, his power might be a little bit too much for Aldo on the feet with his boxing if he engages in the way he did against Chad Mendes with Conor McGregor?
I think Aldo probably learned from that fight. And now here's the thing. Chad Mendes has more knockouts than Conor McGregor does in the UFC. I mean, I know you're probably a huge fan of Conor McGregor.
And Chad, on yourself.
And Chad, yeah, but it's not like he's... it's funny. I have a girlfriend back home, and she goes, he didn't knock him out in 2 minutes. Isn't that what he does? And I said, no, that's what he says he does. He doesn't do that. Maybe did it once or something, but... it's funny the way, realities form, but the bottom line is I don't think that Conor McGregor's a more dangerous striker than Chad Mendes. He may talk himself up to be, but Jose Aldo is the most dangerous striker in the world right now. But I don't think that it'll be a slugfest like that. I think Aldo's going to use a lot more weapons. I think he'll probably use a lot more kicks and, probably some more knees and it's going to be an exciting fight. Conor's no joke. Aldo's no joke. But I don't think it's going to be like if he stands with Aldo and punches in the pocket, it's going to be good night for Aldo. Aldo is a tough motherfucker.
And is that a fight you potentially like in the future? If you mentioned there, you might, after the Assuncao fight, you might think about changing weight division. Conor McGregor, Urijah Faber, Jose Aldo, Urijah Faber?
The Conor McGregor fight is interesting to me. I've never.
You seem like you have a little pep when you're talking about Conor. It seems as though he might irritate you a little bit. Is that fair to say?
No, not at all. Okay. I'm probably one of the only guys that I don't think he could get under my skin. I could care less if he, It's funny when I see people get under people's skin like that. I've never been that guy, But I think matchup wise, here's the deal. He's a bigger guy than I am. I'm probably a little faster than he is. He's got really good hands. I've got really good hands. He's got some knockout power. I've got some serious submission in my repertoire. I can take a punch. I'm not afraid of anybody. I believe in myself. I would love that fight. Is that a better matchup for me than Frankie Edgar? I would say yeah.
So, 2015, what's in store for Urijah Faber?
A bunch of wins, a lot of time on the beach, a bunch of money in my bank account, and a really good time.
Brilliant stuff. Urijah, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Cheers, Steve. Appreciate it. Good to talk to you.